The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra now after a month of use, and plenty of thoughts about this device. Updates have helped it for sure. This is running on the March patch, but to me, the February patch was the big one. For one, it took care of it attempted to take care of the camera issue that a lot of people were having. I never really had the same issue. What I did notice from patch to patch was that before, when this device first came out, it used to do something very similar to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. When it took an image, whenever it did the processing, the first thing it would try to do would be to really brighten up the image and really blow it out. So that's something that if you're not used to, if you don't like, that you might not really enjoy on your images, especially since that's something you could go in and do after and kind of decide how much you want that brightness. But that is something that the iPhone 15 Pro Max still does. After the February patch, it did not do that. And I understand why that might be annoying to a lot of people, and why when I was doing these videos on the OnePlus 12, a lot of people preferred the image from the OnePlus 12. And I think a lot of that is because the OnePlus 12 did a better job preserving the tone of the image. If there were a little bit of darkness, it left it in, whereas the Samsung device was trying to get that out of there and really blow it out. The second thing that the February patch did was improve battery life. Now, I wasn't getting bad battery life. In fact, I was getting excellent battery life on my S24 Ultra, but that always-on display was draining significantly more than it should. And this is why on my iPhone 15 Pro Max, I don't have that setting where I use the always-on display the way that they intended originally. Now, I don't like just the black screen. I want an image of my cat in the background there, so I've been living with this. But it was, on days when I would have light usage, when I wouldn't throw a bunch of apps at it, the always-on display was my number one battery drain. That should never be. Should never be. So when they did the February update, I saw significant improvement on this. I went from having, 5 to 10% a day battery drain, more likely 10% a day battery drain from just the always-on display to now it's like 1%, 2%. So it's a significant improvement over that. Otherwise, stuff just that I've noticed throughout the month. Love the fact that they changed the display back. Is it back to the olden days? No, but it's significantly better than what it shipped and what we had on launch. Performance, everything is going to be the same. When you're discussing this phone, the number one thing you're going to have to fixate on, and people do fixate on, rightfully so, is the price. $1,300. If you configure it a little bit, you're going to pay even more than that. You have to really decide what a $1,300 phone looks like, because we don't have a lot of examples of it. But if you were to have one, this might get pretty close because it checks all the boxes. And I know people jump up and down. They say, well, just get the Pixel and just get the OnePlus 12. And they're just almost angry that people would pay this kind of money when there are alternatives that offer better value. The Samsung S series, Ultra series in particular, is never going to be the best value, ever. But Samsung users really don't care about that. Think of it this way. If you're a lifelong Macintosh user, you love what it does, you love the software, you love using it, whatever it happens to be, are you ever affected by people pointing, look, you can get a comparably powered PC for $700 left. You're like, oh, that's nice. I'm going to use this. Same deal. If you like One UI, if you like the Samsung design, if you like the quality that they give you, all the rest of it, then you're going to buy your S24 Ultra, and you're really not going to care about that price difference. And that's up to you. There are better values, but they don't check every box that you'd want in a smartphone. But you could decide that if the camera's not important, you go one way. If the camera's more important, you go another way. If the software, blah, 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 whatever it happens to be, there are other decisions that you can make. But that's the point of the S24 Ultra. You're not really making a decision. Yes, you could prefer camera systems of other phones, but for the most part, it's going to be preference, and this phone gives you everything else that you're going to want. Do I like that they charge $1,300 plus? No, it stinks, but it is what it is. Here's the flip side of that, though. Samsung is on its last leg with this. They have relatively little competition here in the United States. They're really not pushed, but if you look around the world at the overseas releases, this looks like it's from the Stone Age. So while I don't mind manufacturers refining stuff and using designs second years and even third years if needed, if they're working on stuff on the device. Don't mind that. I like that. But if you're Samsung, if you're charging top dollar, if you want to be top dog here in the United States, this better not be rolled back for an S25 Ultra. I'm telling you that right now. Because everybody's going to eat your lunch, and I'm going to be in front of the line. This can't happen again. I don't care if you make it out of plutonium next year. This design cannot come back. You need to take a big swing to keep people involved, to keep people interested. Because if you want to go full on Apple, then you got a lot of work to do before you get there. So if you want to run back the same design for 10 years, that's fine, but you got to do some other stuff in there as well. They're not there yet. So I think that they really need to they're not going to change anything about the price, okay? That is what it is. If you want an S20 whatever or S30, all the way up the line, Ultra from now on, you better be willing to shell out $1,300 plus. That's just what it is. But what we can do as consumers is hold their feet to the fire and say, look, if you want to charge that money, fine. We like your product. We like what you do. We like your software, all the rest of it. But you can't give us this again. You can't be lazy with the design. You got to push the envelope a little bit when it comes to new features. That's what's going to be required. Because you see some of these just absolutely mind-bogglingly gorgeous designs that are actually doing stuff. Software stuff that, a little different overseas. And then you look what we get here. It's fine for now, but you can't stay like this forever. And that's the point. The S25 Ultra better be a big departure from the S24 Ultra, which was not a big departure from the S23 Ultra, which was not a big departure from the S22 Ultra. So refinement is fine, but Samsung, if you want to stay on top, if you want to still be the king of the Android smartphones next year in the United States, big asterisk there, then we're going to need something significantly different for next year. Right now, this is the best phone. You might not agree. You might weigh other features more heavily in your decision-making process when buying a smartphone. That's fine. But I think for your money, all the money, pound for pound, the S24 Ultra is the best experience out there right now. So if you want the best phone, unfortunately, you got to pay. Do I think Samsung is still the king of the Android, apex predator here in the United States for these Android phones? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think that could change on a dime? Yeah. Google's right there. OnePlus is right there. Who knows? Motorola, if they have another year where they prove to people that they can put phones together without being a complete disaster, they're right there. Competition's coming. And whether Samsung's ready for it or not, I don't know. I hope they are, because competition's a good thing. Push Samsung, which pushes Google, which pushes whatever. But I know the days of Google getting kicked around are over. The Pixel 8 Pro is an excellent device, fantastic device. It seems like now OnePlus could go ahead and same with Google. They could go ahead and have a self-inflicted wound at any moment. OnePlus is right there. Everybody gives me it kind of gets on me. It gives me a hard time for my OnePlus 12 commentaries. But I like that phone a lot. They're really close. I just think they have to work on some software stuff, some haptic stuff, the fingerprints, the little things. I mean, software is not a little thing, but if they did some stuff, they're right back where they were, which is trouble for Samsung. So if you're an S24 Ultra fan, enjoy it. It's the best phone out there. You paid a lot of money, but like you're the Macintosh users or whatever, you really don't care. You love it. You like it. You use it. Let's just hope Samsung gets the message and does a little bit more for next year's design. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.